Okay, now, if you have been watching my videos or have been a fan of this channel for however long, you will have heard me say a very key buzzword throughout the transfer window, and the word is creativity. And the one thing that a lot of reporters or a lot of journalists seem to lack is creativity, because only in the last week or so have I seen a plethora, a deluge, frankly, of so many different stories coming out about Man United that everyone is jumping on and everyone is scared about. Now, look, I know that it's a difficult thing to exercise much patience in the window, especially when, you had people like myself and a lot of others saying, the July 1st deadline was something that we should look forward to, that there would be more activity, there'd be more this, and it has been pretty silent. In fact, it's been very silent around United, and it's been anything but for the teams around us. So I have every bit of understanding for the people who are, annoyed about what's going on and are a little bit worried. And for me, I'm not quite at the panic stations just yet. I think there will be some movements soon. I thought there would be more by now, I'll be honest. But already, there are too many stories coming out about some of the players we've been linked with. And I wanted to make a video because it's reaching that point in the window already, right? The window's barely underway, but it's reaching that point already where people are starting to just use United as much as they can for clicks, and people are falling for it. So there are three targets, as you can tell by the title of the video. There are three strikers that I want to talk about today, two of which Man United have been linked with. One most clearly, one purely in the press, and another one that we haven't been linked with at all, but that I want to talk about properly. So before we get into it, smash the like button if you're enjoying it. Subscribe if you are new, because if you are, we are on a mission to build the healthiest platform for Manchester United fans in the world. Like I kind of said in the intro, I don't want to be one of those accounts that are just going to, overreact to everything. This is the place where we have grounded, proper, and sound conversations about the club that we all know and love. And we're building a great community. I mean, when I started reposting again on here, we were on 3,000 subscribers. Now we're on over 6, which is crazy. And hopefully in the next video, I'll be able to announce the winner of the 5K giveaway, because it's just been a bit of a nightmare with the people that I was sorting it out with. I've had to move that, but it is coming, and the one at 10K is already sorted. So make sure you subscribe and share it around if you're enjoying it. And most importantly on this video, get in the comments for the players that we're going to discuss. The very first one, obviously, is Ollie Watkins. And I'm surprised, frankly, that there has been quite a widespread negativity around the idea of Man United signing Ollie Watkins, because out of everyone we've been linked with, this is the most Premier League proven player that we could really ask to get. And it's coming in a very interesting time, obviously, with Aston Villa, along with Chelsea, it must be said, have been breaching PSR regulations. They've been fined quite a hefty amount of money for a club like Aston Villa. I know they got European football again, but it's not a small sum of money. That is a top player that they could have got for the 30-40 million euros that they were fined. So it's not looking good for them. We already knew at the beginning of the window that their PSR position wasn't very strong, and a few people hinted at the idea that we could use that to our advantage. I thought that when we were initially linked with Emi Martinez, and then the numbers came out, but then we were linked with Ollie Watkins, and then it happened. So there is an idea that there could be an opportunity for Ollie Watkins, and because he's not really that fancied by Emery over the last 2 seasons. I mean, bringing in Rashford and still resorting to Ollie when you needed him, and still being able to put up the season that he had, is quite something. And we'll get into it, because last season he put up 17 goals and 6 assists. And this is the thing, I'm not much of a stats person. I'm very much an eye test person, and then you use the stats to kind of bleed into the context of it. You don't just look at stats as a reason for buying. I know it worked for Moneyball and the Oakland A's and whoever, like in different sports, sometimes in football as well, but I just don't believe in it. Like, if I did, then there'd be no scouts in football, but there are. So I just want to look at when I go through each of these strikers, some of the more intangible aspects that I think could feed into whether this is a good idea or not. And when it comes to Ollie Watkins, this is a player whose trajectory would perfectly suit a role to Manchester United at this time, because I like the fact that he was in non-league, with Western-super-Mare, then Exeter, then he went to Brentford, and then he was in Aston Villa. There's a clear chart of trajectory, of clear progression there as well, and he's done brilliantly no matter where he's been, and he's only gotten better. And I think it's because players like that, they recognise what they have, and they, you aren't just bled into the fortunate youth system. You've had to kind of play with men your whole life, and you had to man up pretty quickly, for lack of a better expression, and to be one of the key members of your team moving forward. And at Brentford, he was brilliant. And at Aston Villa, he got even better. And the last 4 or 5 years, Ollie Watkins has produced some of the best numbers and some of the best goal tallies for any striker in the Premier League. I think he's only bettered by Salah and Haaland in terms of his overall productivity over the past 5 years. And, we're looking at someone who has 100 plus goal contributions in the Premier League. And he's at that stage in his career now where he's 29. He will turn 30 next year, where he will want to cement himself into where he's going to be, because he's always been on the cusp of the England squad. And with Harry Kane getting older and, quite frankly, not making it in international competitions and not doing what we need him to do, there is room for more strikers in there. And I think Tuchel is the kind of manager that will look at someone like Watkins. But when you are an Aston Villa striker, you don't get too much of a reckoning into the international fold. We've always seen that. And it's rare for a good playing player at Manchester United to not get there. And if you put up those numbers at Manchester United, you will play for your nation. So that's one thing for Ollie Watkins personally, but also for us. If we get any of those kind of numbers from Ollie Watkins moving forward, we are all of a sudden a much better team. He's far better than what we've got. He's better than Xerxes, he's better than Hojlund, he's Prem proven, like I've said, but also he's been doing it so consistently. Now, the other side of the coin is that he is turning 30 years old. This would be by far the oldest player that Ineos would have bought. So it is an interesting one to see if they will go down that route. It fits some of the other molds that people are talking about, and it seems like he isn't really happy at Aston Villa. So it is an interesting one, because when you've been displaced by Duran and sometimes Rashford, but still outplaying them and still outperforming them, then you have every cause to be a bit annoyed. And you sort of saw that in a few of the like post-match interviews that he's given and things like that. Not really much of a social media type of guy, which I like, but I think it would be a great move for him and for us. This is someone who instantly levels up our attack, and if we were to get the Mbeumo deal over the line, which I hope we get over soon because that's just getting annoying now, but if we had Cunha, Mbeumo and Watkins, that is very much a best of the rest front three, which is what Manchester United have been so good at doing over the years and what we've forgotten to do. And had we had the last few years at doing that more and not overspending on foreign talent just for the allure of bringing them in and inevitably not working out, we'd be in a much better position than what we are now. So I'm not at all angry with the Ollie Watkins links. I understand the age factor, but I still think he would be a very good addition for Manchester United, purely depending on the fee. If it's anything with a 3 in front of it, as in a 30 to 38 million pounds or whatever it might be, you have to trigger that, because that is a striker. If we keep Hojlund, if we keep Xerxes, that's a player that can take the onus off of them, teach them a few things, and give us about 3 or 4 years producing at the highest level, I think, still. Because it'll be a part where he will adjust his game. Like, a lot of his game has been focused on, being a pressing forward, being a bit of a, getting in behind the back line, being quick and things like that. His pace will wane eventually, but his brain will get better. So I expect him to keep on with that sort of playing mentality. And like I said, I think that is a decent opportunity for Man United. It might not be a flashy name, and I feel like if he had a flashy Colombian or Uruguayan name, then everyone would be up in arms about it. Like, wow, we need to get him. So, I think it's still a very good opportunity. We'll see where that one goes. I now need to change tact completely when I talk about this next guy. And I'm just going to state it very, very clearly. And I'm going to get through this quite quickly. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is not coming to Manchester United. I don't understand why people are getting themselves whipped up into a frenzy when the likes of Talk Sport are saying that that's what could happen. Their whole MO is about paper talk. And it's just about like pub talk. And they're saying like, yeah, they might have a couple of journalists on there every now and again, but it's not based in fact. This is exactly the type of thing where I say to you, stop relying on lazy journalism to inform your own opinions or to just get yourself annoyed about things, because it only ever goes one way. You need to look at who's saying it, when they're saying it, and what they're actually saying. All of those three need to be in your mind when you read these things, because who's saying it? TalkSport. When are they saying it? After he's just been released by Everton. And why are they saying it? Because Manchester United haven't bought a striker yet, and Arsenal have pretty much signed Gyökeres. That's the day when this all came out. And I know that you're annoyed that even I'm talking about Watkins or Calvert-Lewin when the likes of Arsenal are signing Gyökeres. You just have to be realistic about where we are. And people who thought that the Europa League, missing out on that was a blessing in disguise, it's not looking that way anymore. But I think that Calvert-Lewin is too far of a step that way, and they've just gone too far. That's just not going to happen. Like today, for example, I'll put my neck out on the line and say this. I think that we'll be linked with Callum Wilson, not from anyone in the club, but because he's been released by Newcastle, and Fabrizio Romano today has said that there is no chance of him coming back. He's already been linked to Leeds, but trust me, someone will say that we've been linked with him, and it will get out like wildfire, because that's what people do. Today, as a midfielder, we were linked with Javi Guerra for the first time at Valencia. A big journalist with over 150,000 followers on Twitter was saying, oh, we're very close to the deal. Then someone came out and said, no, he's signing a new contract with Valencia. It's all happening. And we deal with it every single summer. Just stop falling for it. Stop falling for it. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm sorry, no. I've talked about stats. I'm not that keen on it. I use it to inform my opinions generally. But in terms of him as a player, I think he's good. But he's not good for very often because he is always out with an injury. Over the past 4 seasons, I think he's missed, I did it in a live yesterday, he's missed on average about 80 to 90 days worth of injury over the last 4 seasons, and one of them he missed over 200, and that was early in his career. So unfortunately for him, he might go down as one of those players where injuries will dog his career. It could be a case where it could be a Danny Welbeck who this season for Brighton, having had injury problems in the past, which is why we sold him. You know, he put up the most amount of appearances he's ever made at the age of 34 for Brighton and doing really well. So yes, it could happen, but it's not going to be something that United are banking on, not in this state and not right now. So I don't think it's going to happen. But I want to spend the last few minutes of this video talking about a striker that I think Man United should go for and that we haven't been linked with at all. I'm going to say that right now. There is nothing clear at all that this player is going to leave his current club or that he's going to come to Manchester United. There's been nothing. But I want to set a bit of an agenda. This is going to be my first player, genuinely, where on YouTube anyway, where I will say, I want this guy. Previously, I'll say I want this player, he seems alright, but this is the striker that I actually want Manchester United to buy. I've said it a couple of times on live shows, so make sure you're subscribed to tune into those when I post them. But Rodrigo Manz of Fulham, bring him to the theatre of dreams. I'm sorry, I don't know what you think about that, but straight away, let me just give you the facts of this guy. And these are where the stats come in, but I want to tell you the reason why I actually want him. He's 24 years old. He's averaged a goal or an assist every 94 minutes last season. And it's not just the fact he's registering them. This is where the intangible side comes in. He scored against Liverpool, scored against Arsenal, scored against City, scored against us. Scored winners in 3 of those games. And the first time I remember seeing him play against us, I just thought this is a fearless guy who does not care who he's playing against, does not care who he's going up against. And that was against Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane. Like, no slouches, especially with the physical game. This is a guy who is a very physical type of striker and has had to work his way through. Like, he came from Brazil to Middlesbrough and then went to Fulham. He's been in English football for about 3 years and continues to develop in a good way. And I just remember last season, just look at his goal against Liverpool. Bullies Van Dijk, picks it out of the air, slots it past, I think, Kelleher or maybe Alisson it was, at Anfield. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but this is a striker that no one's really talking about. And I don't think that he's been playing to his full advantage at Fulham. I think Marco Silva has a way of playing, and Raul Jimenez and the way that they play at Fulham doesn't suit Rodrigo Manz unless they need him to come on and be a bit of a battering ram or to be a different option. But every time he's started, every time he's played, he's always given something that the majority of forwards in the Premier League don't give. He's a brilliant pressing forward. He's really good at linking up play. He's good in the air. He's physical. He is all the things that you want. And with that age profile at 24 years old, you just think, why not take a punt? Because at this stage, there's nothing concrete taking Hojlund out of Manchester United, but he can't be leading the line next season. I think that's what this season has showed us. At the very least, he can't do that. I think if Mbeumo comes in with Cunha, then Xerxes can be the guy to link it up and have them two run across from him. But then when you need another option, when you need that striker there, why are we spending all this time thinking about big money strikers like a Seshko, like an Osimhen, when all it's going to do is put another heavy load up top when we're not even feeding them properly? Like I said, when I heard about the news of Gyökeres going to Arsenal, annoyingly, it made a lot of sense. And annoyingly, I can understand why he thinks they're a better proposition than us, because Arsenal are set up. They're set up to create chances. They're set up to score goals. We're not. We showed that last season. We were making chances. We were conceding fewer goals. We weren't scoring them. Not just because the strikers weren't good enough. We weren't creating pure out and out like chances for the strikers. They were more difficult than any of the other teams that I've just mentioned with Liverpool, City and Arsenal. So we can't be signing a big striker and and just expecting them to fix everything, because there's still going to be that disjointed level. So my MO for this transfer window has always been, and it will continue to be, to bulk out the squad with good depth in talent in key areas of the pitch. We need athleticism in the midfield, and we need a more all-round complete level of striker, and we need to get it for the right price. Rodrigo Manz is Premier League proven, like I'll keep saying throughout the course of every video that I'm doing until we start the year, and he's also the type of striker that we would sign before. Louis Saha we signed from Fulham when he had a couple of good games against us and was showing some promise. Rodrigo Manz is in that similar mould. And I just think he's a very modern type of player, and I think that's the guy that we should be going for. If you give me the opportunity to be director of football at Manchester United, he's the guy I'm going for. The only links I'm seeing with him is that he might be on his way to Leeds as a club record fee of like £30+ million. That is a very good deal for a very good striker who I think is one of the most underrated in the Premier League. And I would much rather see us save the 40 or 50 million on top of that. It would be to get one of these elite level strikers, only for them to potentially not work out, or to have the weight of expectation dawn upon them, or to have the fact that Manchester United just don't have the squad to bring the best out of them come to fruition very early on in the season and pile even more pressure on the manager and the board than what is welcome at this point. Cunha's a fantastic signing. I think Diego Leon is a really good signing. I think Mbeumo will be a brilliant signing. I think Rodrigo Manz would be equally as brilliant as them for the fee that we could potentially get him for. And that is my take. I mean, look, those are 3 strikers that we've been linked with. There are more, but I wanted to do a video purely on Premier League strikers that we've been linked with. And Ollie Watkins, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Rodrigo Manz are the 3 that I've focused on today. If you have any thoughts on any of them, get them in the comments below. But I especially want to hear what you think about Rodrigo Manz, because that's the guy who I've got a proper agenda for this season. I think he could be a bit of a game-changing signing. I'm not saying he's going to be, like, if he did come, he's not going to score 30 goals a season, but I think he could be in the 10 to 20 range. I genuinely do. I think he is that good. And I also think he is undervalued. I think he is underrepresented in the Fulham setup, and I think that's just an opportunity for anyone, and I'll be jealous of whoever gets him. And, you know, we'll be doing this kind of going on throughout the course of the transfer window with goalkeepers, with defenders, with midfielders, but right now on strikers. Is there anyone I've missed for a good amount of money? As you saw in the other video I posted where we talked about Voltemada, who might be on his way to Bayern, or Samo Agahawa. There's a few that I mentioned in that video, including Rodrigo Manz, but you can consider this the start of my Rodrigo Manz agenda, because I think that kid is going places. I really do. And if he gets his next move right, he could really go places. And I think we should be that next move. But thank you very much for joining. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And it's always goes to the same length that I think it will. I just thought I'd talk about 3 strikers and that would be that. But here we are nearly 20 minutes in. And yeah, we are there. But I just want to say thank you again for all the support you guys have shown. Make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss any of the live shows, which are becoming more of a routine for me as well. But all of my socials are down below, which includes now Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also, if you have been watching on YouTube but you think, oh, maybe if I go for a walk, I want to listen to it or stuff like that, these videos, including the live shows, are available on Spotify, soon to be available on every other listening platform for you. And all you got to do is click the links in the bio, check them out, and I'll see you on the next video. So please do subscribe. We are trying to hit 10K before the start of the season. How realistic that is, I do not know, but we are here to build the most positive and healthy community of Manchester United fans in the world. So if you want to be a part of that, drop a subscription and let's build this into what I think it can really be. And let me know what you think of everything. Subscribe if you're new. Get in the comments, get liking, do all that good stuff. And instead of me just rambling on, I'm going to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, guys.